This is the Soccer O.G. I am Max. Another day, another week, more news, differing of opinions as we creep closer to returning to action in the world of soccer. So, since I last spoke to you, several things occurred. The Bundesliga is still on course to perhaps begin playing by May the 9th. We knew that. Then the Netherlands, the Dutch league, which borders Germany, saying their league is canceled. The next day, the Korean league, and we obviously have to give Korea a lot of credit for the way they handled the pandemic. They were, across the board, the best at everything, testing, you name it. But I'm not going to get into that. I'm going to stick to sports. They're going to return that week of May 8th. And all due respect to the Korean league, and I am very fond, I pull for South Korea for a variety of reasons, the national team, on the national games. But that is not one of the big European leagues. That's not going to draw a lot of eyeballs like the German league. So let's start there. It's starting to feel, now they have to clear some government issues before they're completely locked in to beginning, but it seems to be on track. But it's starting to feel like we're going to all watch this first Bundesliga game the same way our parents and grandparents gathered to watch the lunar landing. You know, it's like one small kick for Thomas Müller, one giant leap for all of football. I swear I came up with that on the fly. It's the first thing that came in my head. It wasn't great. But you know what I mean? And we're like, oh my God, the magnitude is going to be immense. But for that league to start on May 8th, May 9th, there are so many forces against it. There are so many hurdles they have to clear. Players supposedly not allowed to have sex with their partners beforehand. And if their partner has coronavirus, they would be banned if they have symptoms. Fans are upset. These are going to be behind closed doors. There's going to be a lot of government issues. The court of public opinion is going to be against it. Everyone wants everything to start later. That is, those forces are close to irresistible. And I think it's going to affect a lot of things. But in the meantime, all eyes on Germany, like we saw Neil Armstrong landing on the moon. It was Neil Armstrong, right? It wasn't Buzz Aldrin. Well, that makes this what's so historic when it does come through. So May the 9th, again, it's not one size fits all with these leagues. Let's take the Dutch league, the Eredivisie, in consideration. 9 rounds to go. And voided. The language is pretty harsh. So no promotion, no relegation. Ajax and AZ Alkmaar, who were tied. Ajax were ahead on goal differential. There will be no champion. Ajax go top tier, though, to the Champions League. AZ go second, etc., etc. It's bad news, obviously, but the Dutch league is not the German league in a lot of ways. Germany is major leagues. I did see something interesting about the Dutch league that this may be one of the more, kind of the sadder stories that come out of this about sports, how everything was put on hold, and now we know the Dutch league is canceled. AZ Alkmaar were on their way to their third Dutch league title, potentially. And their roster is an incredible nucleus of players that they built from their academy and are now taking leadership roles. Toon Koopmeiners, the captain, he's supposedly headed to Everton. He's a wonderful midfielder. Boadu, the striker, he's their top scorer. He's 19 years of age. Calvin Stengs, top assist guy, is 21. Their captain is 22. It's a young team. It would have been, not that I paid any attention to the Eredivisie, but as a result of them canceling their league, I noticed this, and I think you should all read up on it. AZ Alkmaar. Really interesting story, a story that will not have a finish line, at least as a collective group, because by all accounts, these star players are heading in different directions, and we'll hear more about them probably playing in the Premier League. I think Boadu is an Arsenal target and was very highly rated. So the Eredivisie cancels it. And we've heard rumblings about what other things are happening. And the big rumblings were, could the Serie A come back? Italia. Per favore, Italia. Che cosa fa Italia? You know, Italy was the hardest hit until things moved along into the month of April. But I think you still look as one country that was just decimated by CV19, it was Italy. So you could forgive them if the Serie A would not return. But lo and behold, Prime Minister Giuseppe Conte, who's a name we've heard many times over the last few weeks, announces pro sport teams can begin training May the 18th with a look to return to the Serie A first week of June. They've been suspended since March the 9th. 12 rounds remain. Italian Cup is still in play. Nothing definitive has been determined, as that's a lot of D, with regards to the playing start date. But you figure May 18th, it's going to be sometime in June. They're going to monitor the situation. So there you have it. Serie A is considering it, obviously with one eye on Germany. But when you heard what happened in the Netherlands, you may have thought, okay, Italy, not the case. Serie A, though, also major leagues of one of the big four leagues, 5 leagues in Europe that are going to determine the course of action here. Those are the ones that bring in a lot more money, too. Hope you're enjoying the Soccer O.G. I didn't want to just do all CV19 stories. I saw this one of Jurgen Klopp reaching out to the father of Kylian Mbappe to get some feelers about Mbappe potentially coming to Liverpool, which sounds fantastic. He sounds like the perfect player for that situation. And he's as good as Firmino and Mane are, Mbappe and Salah. Mbappe is an upgrade to all three, talent-wise. The trio I mentioned work out really well, but I don't think that's going to happen, but it's an interesting first move. We hear also that before the postponement of all the leagues, that Mbappe to Real Madrid was kind of signed and sealed. So maybe Klopp knows something and he's trying to slip in there. But it brings up a practical question. Who would you jettison? Because you know that front three that had this historic run for Liverpool, who are going to be the European champs for what looks like another 4 or 5 months. So Liverpool's brand will get that little extra kick because there's not going to be another Champions League in May or June. That's going to be pushed on. So their reign goes a little bit longer. But what would happen? I don't know. You don't mess with a good thing, but things, people are catching up to Liverpool. We saw that against Atletico Madrid. I would think Mane's the guy you probably go with, and I think he has the most value on the market if you want to sell him. Interestingly enough, Mane, Firmino, Salah all have contracts through 2023. But Liverpool's not going to be static. A lot of these big clubs, don't believe what you're hearing about, the transfer market's going to be decimated. The big clubs are going to get who they want. They may not spend $200 or $250 million on a Kylian Mbappe, but they're not going to spend $40 million. They know the market price for the star players, because you always got to remember how the sports landscape's going to look when all this is over. That's me being Godzilla, because that's what the sport is going to look like. So there's a little feeler. Subscribe to my little service here, the Soccer O.G. We'll have episodes coming out this week as well on specific topics. Please leave comments there as well, as I'll get back to you. I certainly appreciate everything you do.